Okay, first of all, this is an experiment. I usually record videos at night because I think there's a lot of street noise. So if you could let me know if it is really noisy and annoying, because I'll just go back to recording in the middle of the night. Um, this is this is a difficult video to make. I'm like scared, but like not terrified scared, but just like nervous scared, and I'm afraid of judgment. I mean, that's the thing when you have avoidant personality disorder is the judgment kills you, right? Um, but I know I've talked about this before, so if you've seen my channel before, then you know what's going on. If you have avoidant personality disorder, you know what's going on. Um, but I'm kind of proud of myself, and I really should. Okay, let's get choked up on that. I mean, it's technically I am, but I'm not allowed to be because avoidant. Um, I feel like if I do these sort of, thanks, Poppy. If I do these sort of, you know, progressive things in my life, I should let people know because, you know, it's, you get to the point where you think that it's impossible to make any progress at all. And, okay, here's a little tiny bit of progress. A couple days ago, I went and had, oh, this is hard to say because I think it's going to, anyway, I had my first dental cleaning in, I think it was 15 years. I mean, this is hard. There's a lot of people that have talked about, I mean, these sort of self-care things, like it's difficult for people to get a haircut because they have to sit and talk to the hairdresser. Unless you're somebody that like goes every 6 weeks like clockwork. Um, and it's difficult to go to a dentist because they're in your mouth. It's the same kind of thing. Like I've never had a manicure or pedicure, never had a massage, never had anything like that because like no. But this also, you know, I feel like, you know, this is something you're supposed to do every 6 months, and I haven't. And the reason that I haven't is because, you know, when I grew up, it was considered an indulgence. And I heard stories of, you know, my mother grew up in a family with 5 kids and 2 adults, and they, as a family, shared one toothbrush. Now, granted, she lost all her teeth. Where all I would, you know, they had really good insurance, they had dental insurance, and yet all I heard about was the complaints about, oh my God, we had to spend money for you to go to the dentist, blah, 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 blah. And it was just unimportant. Now, my mother and my father, actually, both of them spent like unbelievable amount of money on dentists and being very vain about trying to keep all their teeth and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Um, you know, despite really poor care. Um, but it was just insanely difficult to even think about it, to even conceive about it. Plus, how expensive is it going to be? That sort of thing. Well, um, I was sort of forced into it. I mean, I've been sitting there going, like, for like the last, I don't know, 4 years, seriously, I've been like, okay, I should like set aside $10,000 to go to a dentist because I assume I've got like a million cavities and it's going to cost so much to fix my teeth. Well, what happened was I did have a whopper of a cavity, and it caused a broken tooth, and I had to have a tooth emergency pulled, and because it was an emergency, it was totally covered by insurance. Um, and then I'm going to have an implant. Guess what? Implant's going to be total about $8,000. So yeah, I was right that I needed to start saving money for it. Um, but you need to have it's done in two parts. They put the part in that's sort of the structure, and then that has to heal, and then they put a false tooth on top. And they highly recommend it because I'm young. I'm 51. Not that young. But it could be like 30 years or more that I would have this hole in my mouth and my teeth will all shift around and it'll make it difficult, blah, 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 blah. So I need to get either an implant or a denture bridge, and that's just what their suggestion is anyway. So I do have that surgery scheduled, the first part of it anyway, to get the structure in place. To do it, I need to get my teeth cleaned. It was a requirement. It was an incredibly difficult process because dentists, like everywhere, like I think I've talked about this, I don't know. I had an issue with my eye. I thought I had conjunctivitis and went into a quick care to get, oh, need some antibiotics. And they went, that is not conjunctivitis and that is not good. And you need to see an eye doctor about this. So I called my eye doctor and they were like, yeah, well, we've got appointments starting in July. This was, I think, maybe in January. It was a while ago. I was like, what? I mean, it was like 6 or 7 months out. I was like, oh my God. Dentists are even worse than that. By the way, what happened was I did find another eye doctor, and I had to go and have all this like nerve testing, like they wired up my head and did all this stuff, and they were like, yeah, you have a problem with your eye, but it's not actually affecting your vision. We're gonna check you again to see if it's actually getting worse. I mean, I could be going blind. But so far, whatever that problem is, it's not actually affecting my vision, so whatever. And basically I can't do anything about it, so whatever. Wish I didn't know. But it was the same thing with dentists. Like, trying to find a dentist was impossible. So I do have a recommendation for anybody that's in the same sort of situation. I finally thought to call dental school, and dentist school doesn't do it, but they have a dental hygienist's school. And it's cheap. It was, for me, it was $36 for cleaning. I mean, that I think is like, I don't know, 20% of what I expected to pay at least. At least. So it was a process. I mean, it was a kid. But she didn't really know. I mean, it's been so long since I've been to a dentist and had a cleaning that they have new tools that I've never seen before. I mean, that's really pathetic. I didn't get the feedback I thought I was going to get. I didn't get like screamed at about, well, how come you don't do this and that and the other. It did take forever. It was like 3 hours because, again, this was a new kid and they were learning how this equipment worked, and they were learning like the computer program that they had to use. And for every single thing, every medication that I take, which I take a bajillion vitamins, every single one she had to look up online what any complications could have with dentistry and tell me about them and say, well, you wear this, that, and the other. I was like, oh my Lord. Took forever. I mean, it was anal. If you'll excuse the phrase, especially concerning mouth and teeth. But it's kind of amazing. I mean, I got my teeth done and it's like, I could do it again. And I mean, it's $36 if I've got the 3 hours and the brain power to do it. I mean, I could do it every 3 months. Who cares? Do I suggest that? No. But maybe to like sort of get used to the idea of doing it. I mean, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I think that's the point. It's almost everything that you do, it's not as bad as you think it's going to be. Especially if you don't have to ever see these people again, you don't ever have to interact with them again, then doing this kind of thing, I mean, I got pushed. I got pushed hard. I was like, you are required to do this. I had to do it. But you can do it, you know, and it is stressful, and you have sort of build up your personal reserves to go through it, and then afterward you'll just be like, wow, I did it, it's done. And it's almost everything is like that, you know. I mean, okay, not everything. I mean, everything's sort of relatively minor that everybody else thinks is like sort of average and normal. It's kind of the same. I mean, it's difficult for me to, and this is gross, it's difficult for me to ever think that I'm worth it, that I'm worth their time. I mean, that, you know, that any amount of money they would charge me, that I could possibly be worth their time. I don't know, but I did it. You know, I mean, for years and years and years, I didn't get my hair cut. I can't remember where my hair long, obviously. Real long. For years, I didn't get my hair cut, or I cut myself. And I finally went, and you bet, the first time I went, because I'd been cutting it myself, they were like, what happened to you? Your hair is all uneven and everything else. I was like, oh. But now, you know, I try to go every 3 months or so, at least not going further than 6 months out, and get a trim just so that it sort of dulls the anxiety about how awful it is. Now, do I think I'm going right back to the dentist? Maybe. There's Poppy. I don't know. Anyway, I did it, and you can do it. And you can do the things that are hard, that are not hard for other people, that make it even harder because you're like, oh, it's hard for me, and it shouldn't be hard, and you're self-judging, and you're afraid everybody else is going to judge you. And truth is, even if they do judge you, you'll never see them again. Just keep that in mind. You never have to see that person again. You have something you need done, you're going to get it done, and you never, ever have to see them again. Anyway, I do think it's really noisy trying to film in the day. Let me know if it's really annoying. I'll probably go back at night, but there's less light at night. Can't win. Anyway, that's the update.